Chosen one, pay attention. What you're about to hear may catch you off guard. If you're here watching this right now, understand this clearly. It isn't accidental. You weren't just scrolling. You were led. God intentionally guided you to this moment. Every step, every delay, every turn brought you here on purpose, at this exact time. Something uncommon is positioning itself in your life, and you need to be awake for it. God has already spoken, and the message is clear. The world is standing at the edge of a major turning point. A shift is approaching that this generation has never experienced before. Those who are disconnected from God's direction, those who abandon the path, will feel the impact deeply. But for you, chosen one, something powerful is being prepared. What's coming isn't just a change in circumstances. It's spiritual, it's global, and it's deeply personal to you. You're about to see momentum, movement, acceleration, doors opening faster than you thought possible, answers arriving sooner than expected, clarity breaking through seasons where silence once lived. Scripture says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" That's Isaiah 43:19. This isn't theory, it's happening. Before we continue, do 3 simple things. Tap the like button, subscribe as we move toward 5,000 subscribers, and comment 99 as a sign of agreement. And to everyone who supports this channel or sends a super thanks, may God return it to you multiplied. Stay with me until the end, because if you truly carry a calling, your spirit will recognize the gravity of what's being released here. You didn't search for this message. It found you, deep inside. That's why you may feel an urgency you can't quite explain. Your sleep feels different. You wake up at strange hours. Conversations don't land the same way anymore. Things that once entertained you now feel empty. Old habits no longer satisfy. The noise of the world feels heavier. The routines feel hollow. That isn't breakdown. That isn't confusion. That's awakening. That's God calling you. Your spirit is responding to a frequency the world doesn't recognize. This shift is not just another season change. It's the will of God advancing with precision. There will be shaking, not symbolic, but real. Systems people trusted will fail. Structures that seem solid will reveal how fragile they always were. Only those grounded in purpose, rooted in faith, and anchored in God's word will remain steady. And once God opens your eyes, there is no returning to sleep. You can't unknow truth. You can't go back to ignorance. You might feel inadequate. You might tell yourself, "I'm not ready. I'm not strong enough. I don't know enough." But hear this clearly. God doesn't choose people because they're qualified. He qualifies those he calls. He looks at the heart, not the resume. The Lord is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. That's Psalm 46:1. When pressure comes, he isn't distant. He's near. He's involved. The only thing left for you is to move forward in faith, not for applause, not for attention, but to be a light. As this unfolds, a clear separation will appear. Some will harden their hearts. Some will compromise. Some will grow comfortable and drift, but others will rise. Others will stand firm. Others will shine brighter as darkness increases. God warned that a storm would come, not to destroy everything, but to expose what's real and what's fake, to reveal who built on rock and who built on sand, to separate genuine faith from performance. Those who treated faith like an emergency tool, something ignored until crisis, will find the storm unbearable. The world will feel divided, not because God desires division, but because truth always separates light from darkness, clarity from confusion. This is not the time to neglect your faith. This is not the season to treat your calling casually. This is not a moment for lukewarm living. For those disconnected from God, the days ahead will feel heavy. Pressure in relationships, finances, mental health, and stability. Indifference will turn into panic. Doubt will turn into confusion when the shaking begins. Anything you leaned on that wasn't God will not survive. But you, chosen one, were not called to fear. You were called to rise. Your faith is your defense. Your purpose is your direction. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and uphold you. Isaiah 41:10. That isn't poetry. That's promise. When pressure increases, His strength will increase within you. The world has always been full of wandering souls, people who drifted, got distracted, chased what couldn't fulfill them. But now comes a moment of reckoning, a moment of awakening. God's mercy is reaching farther, faster, and stronger than ever before to bring people back. Some who walked away are returning sooner than anyone expected. You'll see faces you thought were gone for good. People who rejected faith. People who chose another path. They're not coming back just because life got hard, but because their spirit is starving. The emptiness finally became impossible to ignore. This is a powerful awakening. Those who once rejected love are now searching for it. Those who caused pain are now seeking healing. Those who said they didn't need God are now desperate for His presence. And you, chosen one, are part of this restoration, not to judge, not to say I told you so, not to hold their past over them, but to guide them back with grace, to reflect the love that never left, to heal what's broken where others condemn. A bruised reed He will not break, and a smoldering wick He will not extinguish. Matthew 12:20. That's how God sees broken people, not as failures, but as lives worth restoring. And that must become your posture too. God's plan is vast, personal, and exact. Everyone has a role, whether they recognize it or not. Chosen ones are not better than anyone else. They aren't more valuable. They're simply the ones who answered when God called. The ones who said yes when others said no. You are the ones who didn't let bitterness steal their softness. The ones who didn't let pain silence their prayers. The ones who didn't let some hearts were hardened by betrayal. Others were scarred by disappointment. Yet there are those who refuse to close themselves off, even when life tried relentlessly to shut them down. And then there are the many who haven't awakened yet. The ordinary ones, the searching ones. They are not excluded from God's plan. They are not forgotten. They are not beyond redemption. Your role is not to judge them, not to resent them, not to elevate yourself above them. Your calling is to lead them gently, to serve them, to love them back into life. For those who have been wandering, those who haven't yet encountered the transforming presence of God, this season marks the beginning of awakening. Their spiritual sight is slowly adjusting. They're starting to notice truths that were always present, patiently waiting. Conviction is touching places that once felt numb. A hunger is forming where emptiness used to live. And when that hunger rises, you will be there. You will model what it looks like to walk with God in the middle of confusion. You will demonstrate that faith is not weakness, it is strength at its highest form. You will remind them how to pray again, how to hope again, how to trust again, how to believe again. This assignment didn't appear randomly. Your entire life has been preparing you for this. Every struggle you survived, every betrayal you endured, every long season of silence and waiting, it was shaping you, training you, equipping you for now. Let me realign your focus for a moment. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the responsibility, by the seriousness of what you're being called into. But here's what you must understand. God's abundance is not dependent on circumstances. It is not restricted by economies. It is not limited by global chaos. God's abundance is deeper than material provision, though He can provide materially. His abundance shows up as peace that defies logic in the middle of turmoil. Strength that appears when you thought you had nothing left. Wisdom that arrives exactly when it's needed. Grace that covers what you cannot fix. Joy that survives sorrow and shines even in dark seasons. To receive that abundance, you must release what's draining your soul. Fear about tomorrow. Endless worry. Doubt that whispers God's promises don't apply to you. Pride that insists you must handle everything alone. Comparison. The craving for validation from people who may never understand your calling. Let it go. Stop carrying weights you were never meant to carry. Walk under God's covering instead of beneath your own insecurities. My God will supply every need of yours according to His riches in glory in Christ Jesus. That's Philippians 4:19. That's not theory, that's provision, that's a promise. God is telling you, if you remain aligned, if you walk in obedience, if you trust me even when the path is unclear, I will sustain you. So stop living as if you are alone. Stop carrying burdens that were never yours to hold. Stop believing you have to solve everything by yourself. You are covered. You are protected. The time has arrived. A divine countdown is in motion. And the awakening that's unfolding will change everything. This transformation won't just affect you, it will echo through generations. You were chosen for this exact moment in history. This isn't only about personal growth. It's not just about your individual breakthrough. This is about a collective awakening, a massive return to faith, a restoration of truth in a world saturated with deception, a fulfillment of divine purpose spoken about long before now. Yes, the world looks chaotic. Yes, it feels unstable. But chaos often marks the beginning of reordering. What appears to be destruction is often the removal of what was never meant to last. What feels like endings are actually beginnings forcing their way through. So prepare yourself. Guard your focus. Refuse distraction. Don't allow noise, drama, or meaningless conflict to pull you off assignment. Stay disciplined in the small daily decisions that strengthen your spirit. Stay prayerful, not only in crisis, but consistently. Keep your connection with God open and active. Remain humble. Don't let success inflate your ego. Don't let recognition make you forget the source of your strength, and stay courageous. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's obedience in spite of fear. If you're hearing this right now, it's not coincidence. It's not chance. You are part of something far bigger than yourself. God is personally calling you forward. This isn't a temporary emotional high. This is a directional shift, a defining moment, a clear line between before and after. The world is changing. That's undeniable. The real question is whether you will answer the call, whether you will rise, whether you will step fully into what you were created for. You weren't chosen because you're flawless. Let that be clear. God didn't choose you because you had everything figured out. You were chosen because your heart knows how to surrender. Because even when obedience is uncomfortable, you're willing to trust Him. You were chosen because you're willing to be strengthened by God, not because you're strong on your own. Your calling isn't just to speak about God, it's to live the message, to love when it's inconvenient, to walk in integrity when no one is watching, to remain steady while others panic, to show kindness where cruelty is easy, to speak truth in a world full of masks. That is kingdom leadership. Not titles, not platforms, not applause. Character, consistency, authenticity. As uncertainty increases, economically, socially, morally, your faith will become a refuge for others. People are starving for stability. They are exhausted by noise and empty promises. They're searching for something real, something that doesn't shift with trends and doesn't collapse under pressure. And that is why you're here. Spiritually grounded leaders are needed now more than ever. Not flawless leaders, not polished performers, but real ones. Authentic ones. People who are anchored, not in image, but in truth. Your authority is not tied to a title, a platform, or public recognition. It is rooted in obedience to God's voice. It is revealed through service, especially toward those who can offer you nothing in return. It is proven by how quickly and faithfully you respond when God says, move. This awakening is not about overpowering people or defeating enemies. It is not about dominance or revenge. It is about restoration. It is about lifting others up, about pointing weary souls toward salvation, toward peace, toward hope, toward the one who heals what life has broken. For too long, the world has existed on autopilot, surviving instead of truly living, repeating routines and calling it a life, when God intended depth, purpose, and transformation. Distraction has replaced direction, noise has replaced meaning, entertainment has become a substitute for peace, busyness has become a substitute for purpose, achievement has become a substitute for identity. People stay occupied to avoid confronting the deeper questions. They settle for shallow connections and call it community, even though real connection requires vulnerability. But that era is coming to an end. The ordinary will no longer satisfy you because God never designed you for shallow living. You were created for more depth, more purpose, more meaning that stretches beyond temporary comfort and short-term pleasure. Not a life of compromise where you constantly silence your convictions just to fit in. Not a life of numbness where you stop feeling deeply just to avoid pain. Not a life of shrinking back to keep peace with people who don't share your calling. You are being called to greatness. And let me redefine greatness through God's lens. Greatness is not fame that fades as fast as it arrives. It is faithfulness that endures year after year. It is not celebrity, it is impact. Impact that transforms lives. Impact that shifts atmospheres. Impact that alters eternity for someone else. It is service that costs you something. Your time, your comfort, your convenience. Sometimes even relationships that cannot follow you into your next season. It is love that doesn't keep score. Love that doesn't wait for people to earn it. Love that remains even when it becomes uncomfortable. The end of the ordinary is also the end of excuses. No more hiding behind fear as a reason to stay small, stay quiet, stay stuck. No more saying, "I'm not ready," as if God waits for perfect confidence before he calls someone forward. You will never feel fully ready. Faith has always required movement before clarity, obedience before understanding. No more saying, "Someone else will do it." That excuse ends now. You cannot outsource your divine assignment. God is calling you specifically, and the only thing separating you from your next level is your willingness to trust him fully, without conditions or reservations. As the world sinks deeper into confusion, instability, and daily uncertainty, heaven sends a clear message. Faith is your shield, not optimism, not positive thinking, not motivational slogans. Real, tested biblical faith. Darkness will attempt to distract you relentlessly. It will try to exhaust you through disappointment until you stop believing change is possible. It will tempt you to compromise your values gradually, never all at once, but piece by piece. It will whisper cynicism, telling you hope is naive and trust is foolish. It will try to numb you so conviction no longer stirs your spirit. But here is the truth. Those who make God their refuge, those who run to him instead of running from pressure, those who anchor themselves in his word instead of drifting with public opinion, they will experience peace inside the storm. Not after it passes, not once everything settles, in the middle of it. Fear will try to dominate your thoughts. Fear of the future, fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of being wrong. But faith must become your default response, chosen again and again, intentionally, consistently. When fear rises, answer it with scripture. When anxiety closes in, answer it with prayer. When confusion clouds your direction, answer it with the promises that have carried believers through centuries of trials. Take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the enemy. That's Ephesians 6:16. That is not metaphorical language. That is strategy. That is instruction for spiritual warfare. Faith is not passive. Faith is defensive and active. It guards your mind, your emotions, your peace, and your purpose. Faith stops attacks before they take root. Faith outlasts storms because it is connected to something eternal. The storms ahead may be intense. I won't tell you everything will be easy, but your faith must be stronger than the pressure, fiercer than resistance, and more persistent than setbacks. Strengthen it now while there is still time. Feed it with the word, fuel it with worship. Reinforce it with testimonies of God's faithfulness. Protect it from voices that mock it, environments that suffocate it, and compromises that weaken it. Do not play with distraction. Do not entertain what poisons your spirit, drains your passion, or clouds your discernment. Guard what God placed inside you. Hesitation is no longer an option. The chosen are rising all across the world. You can sense it if your spirit is awake. And this is your moment to step fully into divine power. Not power for ego, not power to control others, but power for purpose. Power to fulfill the assignment God placed on your life before you ever took your first breath. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions. You don't have to wait until every question is answered or every doubt disappears. The moment is now, today. God has already equipped you for this season. You may not see it yet. You may look at yourself and see weakness, limitation, or inadequacy, but God sees differently. He sees strength being built through obedience, through consistency, through showing up when it's uncomfortable. Every act of obedience is a brick. Every choice to trust him is a foundation stone. Every time you move forward despite fear, another beam of strength is set in place. The wisdom you're asking for is already forming, through surrender, through laying down your own understanding, through trusting God step by step. And it's happening right now. Through humility, through admitting you don't have all the answers, through being willing to learn, to be corrected, to be redirected without offense. That is where real strength is formed. The courage you are searching for is not missing. It is already growing inside you. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you move forward while your hands are still shaking, every time you speak truth even when your voice trembles, that is courage being built in real time. To step into your power is to step into who you were created to be before the foundations of the world were laid. Before time began, God already saw you. He already wrote purpose into your existence. He already designed a blueprint for how your life would impact this generation. This calling requires confidence, but not arrogance, not pride that looks down on others. It is confidence rooted deeply in God's presence. Confidence that does not come from achievements, applause, or approval, but from knowing whose you are. Confidence that stays steady when circumstances shift, when doors close, when plans change. It means facing challenges head on, not running from pressure, not avoiding hard conversations, not choosing comfort over obedience. It means standing with unshakable certainty that you are not alone, that God goes before you, that His Spirit empowers you, that heaven backs every step taken in obedience. It means serving with excellence, leading with humility, protecting what is vulnerable, rebuilding what is broken, healing what is wounded, guiding those who are lost. And as you rise into this calling, understand this clearly. You are not doing it for rewards, not for recognition, not for applause from people who will move on the moment something shinier appears. You do it for the glory of God. You do it because He deserves your best. You do it because eternity is watching. Someone's breakthrough depends on your obedience. Someone's healing depends on your yes. Someone's salvation depends on your willingness to move when God speaks. So I will ask you one final time, chosen one, and I want your spirit to answer honestly. Not the version of you others see, not the version shaped by fear or people-pleasing. Will you answer the call? Will you rise to meet this moment? Will you release the old weights that have held you back? The fear, the doubt, the insecurity, the need for approval, the comfort zones that kept you safe, but small. Will you step fully into the calling that has been pursuing you your entire life? Even when you tried to outrun it, even when you ignored it, even when you convinced yourself you weren't qualified, because the world is shifting. You can feel it. Everyone can feel it. And hear this clearly. You were not brought this far to retreat. Not after everything you survived. Not after every valley you walked through. Not after every night you cried in silence. Not after every moment you wanted to quit but didn't. You were brought here to stand when others fall. You were brought here to lead when others hide. You were brought here to shine, not with a manufactured light that burns out, but with the light of the one who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. As you move forward from this moment, as you step into the next chapter of your story, hold these truths tightly. When fear tries to take control, choose faith. When emotions lie, trust God's promises. When circumstances shift, rely on His character. When loneliness whispers that no one understands, remember God is near, not distant, not watching from afar, present, involved, walking with you through the fire, standing with you in the storm, when the noise gets loud, when chaos surrounds you, when the wait feels long. Stay steady, stay rooted, stay anchored. Do not be moved by what you see. Do not be shaken by what you hear. Do not be discouraged by timing. You were never meant to walk this path alone. God's protection surrounds you like a shield. His peace guards your heart and mind when everything else is unstable. His mighty hand will carry you through situations that would break others. The revolution has already begun, and you are part of it. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your call. Will you answer?